Hello and welcome back to the MLG Columbus. I'm just so excited. I'm joined by Mr. X. You know, it's like everyone's been waiting for this game. It's Justus versus Optic Gaming. That's the game we're going to be spectating. Thoughts?
I mean, you know, these two teams coming in regardless as the top two teams, right?
Yep. Number one
seed. Your number one and number two seed in first round of championship bracket. So couldn't ask for more. I mean, you know, Justus coming in, a lot of people looking at them, you know, maybe just an online team, somebody who wasn't going to come to LAN and really prove themselves. But, you know, they have showed up. I mean, Enable and Slack, just to name two of their standout players. I mean, looked absolutely phenomenal. Then Optic Gaming, you know, at times they've looked like that, you know, God Squad that we thought we would see. But then sometimes, you know, Search and Destroy looks a little bit off.
Yeah, it does. That's definitely been Optic Gaming's weak point here at MLG Columbus. And I'm looking at them to really try and fix it a little bit. I was trying to think to myself how they could fix it. And what are your thoughts on that?
You know, they've been playing extremely aggressive on Search and Destroy, and I think it works when you're doing it together, when you're kind of going out one by one and just trying to make a play, trying to, you know, hero play, get your team back in the game. It's not going to work. You're going to have to really stick together and push those cuts together. If you're going to hit something, so to speak, you got to hit it together. So I think you're going to see a different Optic game on Search and Destroy in this series.
See, that's what's interesting to me about this Justus lineup. They do just that. Everything they do in Search and Destroy is as a team. And Enable and Chiller and Search, they're definitely the duo for that team, in my honest opinion. But when it comes down to Respawn, that's where this is going to be very, very exciting. I think Hardpoint is going to be very, very close between these two teams. And honestly, I think it just depends what Optic Gaming stepped into that booth. Right.
I mean, we're really going to find out what Justus is made of in this series. If they're going to be able to actually, you know, slay with some of the best teams. Because, I mean, Crim6, Formal, and Scumper, you know, they're pretty good.
Out of your top 5 slays in Call of Duty, that's 3 of them you just named right there. That is just, honestly, such a talented team. But yet, this Justus team, this is the thing that really just catches me just by surprise and really amazes me. On paper, you wouldn't ever think they could compete with like a team like Optic Gaming, but yet they can, and they most probably will.
Oh, they definitely can. I would never count Justus out of the series one bit. I think, you know, Enable is one of the better players we've seen at the transition to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and then I think, you know, Slacked, one of the most underrated players in Call of Duty, you know, has always been extremely consistent. I think in this game, you know, he's really come out and shine. I think with, you know, that veteran presence from Enable, I think he can really do great things this year.
Yeah, I'm expecting big things for Enable, I really am, but is it also interesting as well because it's Enable versus Formal too.
Right.
Which adds, I don't know, I just feel it adds a little bit because obviously Formal, for any of you that are unaware, the first player to ever win a championship on both Halo and Call of Duty. Enable obviously has won multiple on Halo, but he never managed to get it on Call of Duty, so he's still chasing that. And I think that's kind of in the back of his mind sometimes when he thinks about Formal.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's a little bit of a storyline right there in itself. So you see on your screen, you have the Twitter poll, hashtag Optic Gaming, hashtag Justus. Tweet with the hashtag MLGAW open for a chance to win. And, you know, Benson, I got to get your predictions going into this series.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that.
I was going to put you on the spot first.
I knew you were going to do that. Again, I think it depends which Optic Gaming have stepped into that booth. If we see the Optic Gaming where we see, you know, the explosive Scumpy, you know, Crim and Formal both playing very well, then every single Respawn should fall that way. S&D, though, Justus should take. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
For me personally, the entire series for Optic Gaming is map 1. They cannot afford to drop this hard point. You know, if they are going to come out and, you know, not really get things rolling right away in this hard point, they're going to drop that. I think that's going to prove for them, you know, be pretty dastardly in the series.
Yeah, they need that momentum, I feel, and they need a little bit of hype. Obviously, it is pretty late here.
Yeah.
In America, it's 12:30. Crowd getting a bit loud. That's what we like to hear here in Columbus. You know, making some noise. As we said, it's late, but everyone's still waiting up for this game. And honestly, this tournament has been full of amazing plays. We've had some awesome matches, and to be honest, this is not going to disappoint.
No, I mean, you know, the last 2 matches we just saw were absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, this match has all the makings to be, you know, even better.
Yeah, I honestly think it will be even better, to be honest with you. And I want to kick things off on board with Mr. Scumpy. He's a player who we've talked a little bit about, and obviously he isn't dropping such high numbers as he used to be, but that's just simply because he's teaming with Crim and Formal. No one's going to keep dropping that many high kills when you're teaming with 2 players like that.
Yeah, you know, there are only so many kills on the map to be able to get, so, you know, Scum obviously, you know, conceding some of those to Crim and Formal for the betterment of the team.
Yep, and he's already off to a great start. That's 2 kills in quick succession for Scumpy. Sadly, he is going to go down. You actually have Classic, who's on that hill, but Crim jumps in. He immediately gets control. He's 3-0 as well off the break, and this is a good early sign here for Optic Gaming.
Yeah, you know, right off the break, Justus pushed the hill pretty hard, and you don't really see that too often on this first hard point on Detroit. This is a map where you kind of fight for that scrap time, really focus on getting that spawn for the next hill. You know, the next hill's one of the ones in those back rooms that you can lock down because there's only 2 or 3 entrances.
Right. Meanwhile, Slack's still on that hill. He's 4-1. Let's have a look at his perspective as he tries to fight off the green wall from challenging. You can see that one player is going to be Nadeshot, who's trying to fight for it. But look at this lead already. You know, we see the kills coming in for Optic Gaming. You've got 6-2 Krim, you've got a 4-3 Scump. But it's 41-5 off that first hill.
Yeah,
that is an obscene amount for that first hill.
Right, but you know, Justus is going to take all that time. They're not going to send anybody on that rotation. You see one player from Optic Gaming all the way in the back, and he's going to hold that spawn so that they can keep flooding into this hill. You see in the COD vision that players from Optic keep flooding in there, but Justus, they are going to break this hill, Benson, because they are pushing through the back, and they're also getting pressure in the front. And you see right there, Slack's able to get control of this hill.
Slack was on a 7 streak before finally getting shut down. You have Crimsix on the hill for Optic Gaming. Mochilla's coming in from behind. He's going to pick that up. Optic Gaming were able to reduce that deficit, but it is still a deficit. Nadeshot, though, going big on that hill, picking up 2 kills, had some help from Formal as well. And there's 3 plays from Optic actually on there. And no one really watching that backside, and they may actually lose control of those spawns if they aren't careful, and that's exactly what has happened. Mochilla coming in from behind, 10-9. He's going to be lying on that hill.
Yeah, you know, Optic did get some good time right there, but you see 3 straight kills in your feed from Mochilla, and it looks like the players from Justus are going to start working over towards getting this garage area locked down. You know, me and Ray talking on analysis before, this is one of the most important spawns to hold down because you can take a full 60 seconds if you can get that ramp spawn in garage.
Formal starting off pretty slow for his standards. 6-10 right now, but Scumpy's going to be on that hill. He goes down. Crimsix, he's down as well. That's going to leave Nadeshot coming from around the outside, and oh, he just got the power punch from Enable. Formal once again trying to push back on towards the hill. Can he find anyone? Yes, he can on the stairs, but he's not going to get it. Slack and Mochilla, the duo on the hills right now. These guys putting up some big kills. I mean, Mochilla has 14-10. He's on a 2 streak right now, and he also has 4 caps, Mr. X.
Yeah, you know, this is what you've seen out of Justus pretty much the entire time this team has been together. They just play so well together as a team. They just kind of mesh. You look at his 2 duos kind of forming together. You know, Mochilla and Enable coming from Curse, and then you have Slack and Classic coming from the Most Wanted team that had a great placing towards the end of Go. So not surprised to see this team have the success they're having.
Classic still on this hill, milking every last second. 98-38 on that rotation. That's a 60-point lead, and we still have 7 minutes still to play. No surprise here, Moch is going to be on that hill, and he's going to pick up a kill for his efforts. That was on Nadeshot. One more player is going to challenge. That's Scumpy. He managed to pick that kill up, but there's still one more player. It's going to be Enable. He goes down, so Scumpy with a big break of his own.
Yeah, Scumpy with a huge break right there on that hill. I mean, if he doesn't break that right there, they're in trouble. I mean, because they just gave up Justus, you know, 60 points in that garage hill. Optic really never got any control of that, never got any of the spawns. You see Formal right here on your screen. He's going to sit at this back trailer and watch this mid-street because you need to control that to keep spawning back there.
Enable still on this hill, just picking up as many kills as he possibly can. He's coming on 2 Classic was on a 7th streak, by the way. He just went off on this hill, really playing very, very well. Speaking of Classic, let's have a look at his perspective. 17-12. Just before this game, before all the players went into soundproof booth, I had a conversation with him. He said, I am pumped up. I don't care how late it is. I am taking the fight to Optic Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge series for Justus. I mean, a lot of people coming in have not really taken them seriously, to be honest, and I think they want to prove it to everybody, and I mean, even themselves, that they can hang with this Optic Gaming team.
Right, that's who you tend to get compared to now, I feel, when you, especially when you talk about slaying. It's always going to be compared to this team. And right now, Justus are going big. 141 points to 54. And still over 5.5 minutes. And Classic, he's going to be on the hill. He's on a 3 streak. Can he make it 4? No, he can't. He does go down. Mochilla, though, that's his 21st kill of the game. And just look at that kill column right now. They're just being outslayed. It really is that simple. Yeah,
they're getting outslayed, but one thing I want to point out is you just saw right there, Classic, he was in the hill. He actually went down, and then you saw Mochilla right there to clean it up. Now, when Mochilla gets that kill, there's nobody to trade that from Optic Gaming. They're not really running anywhere together. They're just kind of running at the hill one by one. They're going to need to wait for their teammates and get together to make a few good pushes instead of trying to do all this one-on-one work.
Yeah, this lead is starting to get extremely out of hand. 174 to 55, and it's just going to still growing as Slack is picking up that scrap time because the hardpoint is about to rotate. And you're going to have Scumpy already in there, but again, immediately broken. Mochilla and Classic, you pretty much just nailed it, Matt. You're saying you need to push it as a team. That's exactly what Justus are doing. They're always pushing 2 or 3 people on the hardpoint every time. Optic Gaming just sending 1 player.
Yeah, so you notice the way Justus plays hardpoint is they pretty much they flood that anchor spot right away if they don't get there. So what they do is they force that spawn for their team, and then they flood the hill together, and they take the rest of that time. If they get there early enough, they'll have one player at the anchor, and they'll play pretty much, try and push out from the hill. But, you know, they just have their hardpoint game down so well right now.
They really do. The rotations on point, and they're already at 200. This is going to be a 100-point club in hardpoint against Optic Gaming. That's scary. If you told me before this event that was going to happen, I would have called you delusional.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very early in this hardpoint game. I mean, we were at the first hill, the second rotations of hills. But, you know, I mean, it is...
They're at 200 points.
Yeah, I know. It is heading towards that way. I mean, it is very scary. I mean, this Justus team is so well-rounded, too. You see nobody really standing out too much in that kill column. You know, everyone
all the
about
same.
even. Yeah.
26, 26, 24, 24. Like, they're just, everyone is doing a fair share of things. Obviously, you look at the capture column, Mochila leads that with 9 because he's always the player that's first to go off on the rotation. You've got Classic and Enabled, they're both on 5, and Slacked, of course, on 3. I'm going to bring up the scoreboard, and you can see the defend column. Classic with 4, you've got Mochila with 2, and also Slacked with 2. Everyone else really on 1, Scump as well with 2.
They don't really have an OBJ player when you really look at their roster.
Exactly.
They don't have somebody who's really, you know, been known to play that objective role well. They kind of all just flood the hill together and do it together.
Yep, and that's been the key to success for them on Hardpoint Detroit. Of course, it isn't over yet, but considering they only need 25 points left, Matt, you have to kind of assume at this point that it's just not going to happen. Again, look at that slaying column. You got Formal 15 and 31.
Yeah,
just let that sink in.
That's a rough one. We'll see. Optic's going to have to give up the rest of this time on this hill to get towards Garage. You see 3 of their players on that rotation. The big gun battle is going to go down in their spawn. They're going to win that. I believe that was Crim6 on Mochila, so they're going to be able to get the spawn for this hill.
7 points is all Justus need. There's still 2.5 minutes, in fact, over 2.5 minutes left. And look how easy that hill was just broken there. Mochila just slides in, picks up their kill, and so close to being over. Classic is there. That's going to be Gain if he wins this gunfight. And there it is.
Wow.
A 100-point club. And look at that booth right there from Justus. They're loud, they're pumped up, and Abel's got a big old smile on his face. And rightfully so, because they just picked up the gaming apart. Yeah,
I mean, I did not see that one coming. I thought, you know, the hardpoint would be pretty closely contested. I thought you could go either way, but for that game to come out, I think that's a game that Optic, that they just kind of have to throw away. At that point, it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah,
let's
forget
just move
about
on
that.
to search and
destroy. Move on to search and destroy, but you know, as we both said, we feel that Optic Gaming needed to win that first map. Unfortunately, they didn't, which means it's going to go over to a search and destroy, something they haven't looked too strong at here at Columbus.
No, they haven't looked too strong on search and destroy, and that's going to make this map even more important after dropping that hardpoint pretty bad.
Exactly that. Map number 2 coming after this quick commercial break.